So the press briefing this morning was quite a revelation, huh?
Yeah, not what I expected. I came here expecting an iteration on the 3-door Thar, and what we got was something so much better.
Not a hardcore off-roader for sure, more of a family car for me. Completely redone suspension, so much more plush, so much more comfortable, so much more usable by all the members of the family, more space. And I really think now we have a proper 5-door version of the Thar, which can be a family car, and we have a model sitting between the Thar and the Scorpio. What do you think?
Can you even call it a Thar? I don't think this is a Thar. I think it's so much more.
Yeah. It's so much more than the Thar, because that absolutely unacceptable ride quality is gone. And this car has been loaded with so many amenities that it can shame a lot of other cars which are so-called premium on the interior front. And today, along with Guru, in a new format, we are going to break this car down in its totality in a conversational kind of a review. And we really hope that you like it. What's your Guru?
What I'm going to say, the Mahindra guys are probably not going to like. But if you're in the market for a 3-door Thar, just stop. Because this thing over here is way better than you've imagined. We'll break it down for you in this video as best we can.
You should have waited for it and not bought a Gemini.
Okay, that's a different topic. we will get into that later.
Let's get started with this review. Walk our audience through about the changes that, in terms of design particularly, the changes that this car has undergone over the Thar 3-door.
So I'm going to try and be as objective as possible, which is very difficult. The difference is now there's this 6-pack grille over here up front. We have LED projector lights. Do I like it? I don't honestly, I don't like it. I don't also like the fact, okay, here's how it could be fixed. This body color thing, if they just black this out, maybe I can live with this.
Even I don't like it much.
But I would just get rid of this and put something.
What about the headlights?
Okay, these Pac-Man headlights, the LED DRLs, you want to just quickly turn it on so they can see. So these, Pac-Man type of LED DRLs, not too sure about them. They just completed the circle, but it's a design choice that they've made. You also have LED indicators now, and you have LED fog lamps at the bottom. So everything up front is LED, but it's a little bit of a different story as you move to the back. The bump, I think this front fender is also extended a little bit.
Yes, it is. It's slightly longer than the one on the Thar.
It is wider than the 3-door Thar.
Yes.
But when you visually look at the car, it doesn't look big or bulky, right? It looks right.
Yes, it does not look like it's significantly bigger than the car that it replaces. It doesn't have any bigger street presence, and it looks compact. And I think in a good way.
And I like the new alloys, I must say.
Even I like it. And the size is bigger.
Yeah, stepping up to 19-inch. This is a 255/60 R19, whereas the previous one had an 18-inch.
Yes. You also obviously get this Roxx branding here, and this brand new Armada.
Could have been this.
Yeah.
But why?
Do you guys think that this could have been named the Armada, the Thar Armada? Do let us know in the comment section.
Yeah, let us know.
Surprisingly enough, the ground clearance on this car has not been mentioned. One of the most important things about an off-roader has not been mentioned in the brochure, but it's definitely over 200 mm. And I think it's in line with what the Thar has, about 220 odd mm, so should be fine. On the side, there's not much difference apart from this handle. What do you think?
I really don't like that. But I can see why they had to do something like that. This level of this door handle here, they can't carry that forward over here because of the fender.
Right.
So adding the second or the rear doors has created some kind of a problem, and they've circumvented that with this handle, which looks a bit strange. It does the job.
This, they could have definitely, not done this, because this is such an imitation of what Jeep does with this car. And
actually, I have a theory about it. I think they may have done something like this to not get into issues with Jeep in different markets. I'm sure they're hoping to sell this in different markets, which is why it has that weird grille and it has this design element to differentiate it from the Jeep offering.
This too.
Do I like it? No. I definitely don't like it.
They say that this is to distinguish this from the 3-door Thar, but this is clearly to distinguish this from the OG Wrangler, I think.
If you're going to make a car look like it's a soft top, just make a soft top.
It doesn't have a soft top, it only has a hard top.
But it's been made to look like it.
It's good, but like, you know, what they have done is not just cosmetic, and they have not taken the short route because this entire structure is very sturdy, and they went to the extent of calling it a roll cage because this entire structure is steel and very solid.
Yes.
So this is not flimsy, this is actually very solid steel.
And there are a number of these rings around
Yes.
to really give the stiffness which we felt on the road.
Yes, we did.
So what they're putting on the, you know, their presentations, it translates to what we felt
Yes.
on the road. The metal top is also a good thing from a security standpoint. If you, like me, if you leave things in the car overnight, you park it at a hotel or somewhere, it's always better than
Needless to
ABS.
say, it also allows them to put on that beautiful sunroof that they have. It's a massive, beautiful sunroof, one of the biggest that we've seen.
This design feature, you see how the roof, it kind of swoops up and then to the back, right? They knew that they were going to do a sunroof, so that was the design priority.
Yeah. The difference in the height of the roof up front as compared to the rear, it makes up for the generous headroom that you have. So this guy is like 6 feet 2, and he can sit in the back seat with a lot of space over his head.
In spite of it having a sunroof. I can't say that about many other cars.
Right. So like it's very functional, although this part I personally don't like what they've done here. It's, would have been better.
Get a angle grinder and just through this whole thing.
Coming to the boot size, 447 liters of boot space.
That's massive.
That's huge. And it's bigger than what you have on the Creta by some margin.
And that's in spite of having what I'm assuming is a built-in subwoofer here, not too many details.
Mind you, this is only up to the seats. If you load it up all the way, there's more space. So what I'm specifying right now is only up to here.
Expecting a lot of the northern fabricators to quickly come up with a rack that would go in here somewhere and, you know, create a kind of 2-stage storage option for many people. 60-40 split seats makes it so much more practical.
12-volt power socket.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
And
couldn't find one in the front
yes,
though.
so that's important because you don't have a 12-volt power socket up front anywhere, and that's the only 12-volt power socket that you have.
Byproduct of this dual door system is that you have these kind of gnarly looking electrical connectors that run from outside to inside. Now, I don't know how durable these will be long term. Yeah, and also like here, right, when you have your bags and you're moving stuff in and out, this already looks like it'll last 10 days. Yeah. And it's the same in the doors.
I'm sure it will last, but it doesn't look very convincing. That's the problem. Like, you know, it doesn't look like
it could have been executed so much better.
Yes.
And I tried to talk about this before. This is plastic, but it's just a cladding.
So this is metal and this is plastic, by the way.
But there is metal inside. So it's all part of the structure, but they've just probably done this to reduce weight, I guess. I'm not sure. Always shut this first. It's a reassuring sound. So this electrical connection thing is also there in the middle seat and the front seat. And the same thing is there over here. An issue for me, and my foot size is 12.5, 13. If you can see here, I'm on the brake pedal, this is my driving position. But you can see my foot fouls against this cladding or whatever this is up here. So if I want to move to the from the throttle to the brake, there's a chance of your foot getting stuck in something here. So something that you want to check out when you test drive the car.
Now one peculiar thing is that I want to pop open the bonnet, and if I didn't have this icon here, I wouldn't have been able to see the lever which sits right here. So let's pop open the bonnet and see what's inside.
Are you ready to pop the cherry?
Yep. You pop it first.
Before we continue, I would like to first prop this up because my hands are burning. Where is the...
It's here.
Okay. Let me get that in place quickly. Ow! This is hot.
There.
There. Huh? And this is the engine bay of the Thar Roxx. Air intake. Air intake is at a very high level, so I think you can wade into water up to the, I think what, 650 mm?
Yes, 650
so that's
it's
lot
consistent with the Scorpio as well as the Thar and this one.
Fantastic wading capacity, turbocharger, and quite a neat engine bay, right?
But there's no insulation here, but we never felt the need of it.
And we didn't hear it either.
Nothing at all.
What a view! Shooting through the sunroof of the Mahindra Thar Roxx. So I'm sat in the driving seat right now, and it's a very comfortable place to be. The seat back is really nicely contoured. I wish they had accommodated a little bit more of seat squab, a little bit more under thigh support. We only have the two-wheel drive today. We don't have the four-wheel drive.
We'll try to get it.
Yeah, we'll try and get our hands on that. I love the feel of this cabin. It feels very rich to me. This is all nice and soft touch. It's actual stitching. It's not fake stitching like we see in certain cars. The steering wheel also feels really nice, squishy, soft, and it's got, you know, the cutouts in the right places. Oh, look at this place, how pretty this is.
Gets auto wipers, gets auto headlamps. All of that is there. And for an off-roader, how good is this? Like, you know, you have illuminated vanity mirrors on both the ends.
Automatic.
Amazing, automatic.
Now my question is, does it turn off? Yes.
Fantastic.
So they have a switch in there. Otherwise, you turn it on, shut this, forget about it. In the morning, battery will be dead.
So this glove box is not all that big, but I like the fact that this comes with cooling.
What do you think? What can it hold? Do you think you can hold?
It can hold a few beverage cans, like, you know, a can of cola or a water bottle or something. It's useful.
I like the grab handle. Way more useful than you imagine.
Talking of grab handle.
How many? Can we count? There's one here.
3, 4, 5, 6, and there is the 7th one with which you open the tailgate. Anyway, getting inside, how easy or difficult is it for you?
For me, it's very easy. I don't really need to use this to get in.
Because of the floorboard?
The floor, I can just step on that. I step with my right foot on the floorboard, put my left foot in, and just slide into the seat. But this will be very useful for a lot of people.
Anything that you don't like apart from your foot scrubbing with, you know, whatever?
Yeah, so this is very specific to me. I think this handle, if you are very tall, you have long legs, this kind of gets in the way. And I don't see why this needs to be so big, because Mahindra, in many cars, they have their window switches over here in the middle, a center console. They could have eliminated this entire thing, because this is the right armrest for me.
Right.
Right? Because here the steering wheel comes naturally to the hand. You put your elbow on this, it's soft. Jimny, Maruti, hard plastic, elbows scrubbed, everything looking white.
This is soft to touch. Luxurious. This is really amazing. You know, they have gone ahead and made all of this soft to touch. This is amazing. This is soft to touch. But there's one thing that I don't like, and that's, you see this little bottle here? This is the equivalent of a 500 ml bottle, and that's all the space that you have.
Moisture. I don't call that water, I call it moisture. I could even go one step further and call it humidity. So you're carrying 4 bottles of humidity, because
so you don't have any space.
It's just
whatsoever.
It's one mouthful of water.
And you don't have space here.
There's nothing here either.
Absolutely nothing here. At the back, you have absolutely no space. Like, you cannot even place a 500 ml water bottle there. So on the door panels, there's nothing, hardly anything at all. And apart from these 2 cup holders and this little space that we have here, I really think that this car could have done with more cubby holes and a little bit more space for storage.
What do you think? You could put a half-liter bottle in this?
I think I can, but I mean, that doesn't make up for the lack of a bottle holder here.
Yeah.
I would have definitely wanted it, especially because there is nothing at the back. So you have this wireless charger here, which doubles up as your space for your wallet or your cell phone or whatnot. And you have some more space here, these 2 cup holders, and the crevice under this armrest can accommodate this sunglass holder or maybe a cell phone, but it's not all that big. This slides. How do you find this? Is this comfortable for you, Guru?
Yeah, so I like that this comes forward. The other one doesn't. But for the driver, this is important. The gear lever falls naturally to the hand. But I wish they had included a couple of, if not 2, at least 1 sunglass holder up here. They have the room for it here. Just make this a little bit bigger console, and you can, you know, provide a sunglass holder there.
So definitely could have been more cubby holes, more storage spaces. Now coming to this little bit here, 9-speaker Harman Kardon system with a subwoofer, and we have someone who's holding a light right now, but he's an expert at audio. What do you think?
You look like Florence Nightingale with the lantern at night.
Say hello to Leslie. Leslie approves of the system. It sounds really amazing. It's fantastic. What do you think?
I agree. It blew my mind, man. I mean, I've loved the fact that car audio systems are just getting better and better. Tata pushed the envelope, then Bose happened in the Korean cars. This is right up there.
The instrument console by itself is fantastic. Wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay. It comes with native navigation, which is fantastic. And it's a familiar unit. It gets physical buttons, which is fantastic. Generally, you don't have physical buttons on a lot of other instrument consoles, which I don't like. Infotainment screen is fantastic. Instrument console, again, a very familiar unit. We have seen it on a lot of other Mahindra cars as well.
Very customizable as well. There are two things I don't like.
Okay.
Really two things that... One is these louvers. I mean, they are really...
They're hard to operate. They're not as easy to operate. But I think they're built to last.
I do not like the white interiors. As a family car in a two-wheel drive version, absolutely go for the white interiors. It brightens up the space. It makes it look airier, bigger than it is. But for a car that is going to have a four-wheel drive system and is going to be used on the trail, used off-road, so you can see that it's already getting dirty here inside the car. You're going to step out of the car into dirt and you're going to get in. And if you're a responsible off-roader and not a lazy bum, then you are going to check the wading depth. You're going to walk into the water, see how deep it is, and then come out and decide if you're going to drive through it or not, and not ask somebody else to do it. In which case, when you get into the car, this interior is going to get really mucky and messed up. And we did ask Pratap, this is not a washable interior.
Yeah, this cannot be hosed down like your regulation Mahindra 3-door Thar. So you have to be very careful. You cannot be, just washing it down like you can with the Mahindra Thar.
So the white interiors, 4x4 that is going to be used off-road is not a good idea. But for a family car, it's perfectly adequate. So the Hilderson control switches to the right of the steering wheel. And when you turn it on, you get a notification in the instrument console. When you turn it off, it goes into passive mode.
Then you have electronic parking brake and auto hold functions. And like most other Mahindra cars, I'm pretty sure that this one will also come out with flying colors in terms of safety ratings.
One more safety feature, man. One more safety feature. The wipers.
Oh, yeah. Let's just have a look at...
Just look at this.
The way the water is...
It's a sauna.
It's like...
So if you run out of water at home, you can happily come here and take a shower.
It's like you're literally being bombarded with water. Just look at this.
That is an amazing windshield washer. Total overkill. The rear window has a demister function and it also has a wiper with washer. Fans of the Pajero SFX rejoice. You have this really nice, inclinometer and a compass as well as a tire direction indicator in the off-road mode. And once you get to on-road, you see the engine performance, the power, the torque figures, the temperature.
You can also go race in this car, you know that?
Yeah, we can race in this car. We can start and stop at lap time.
You can customize it as well. You have a G-force meter as well if you want to be driving on a track and want to feel the G's.
Feel the G's.
So let me quickly give you a view of the camera system here also, and you have a button here, a physical button to bring it on. Bring it on like so, and then you press this little button here to be introduced to all the options that you have. So here you have the front view, here you have the rear view, the side view, which also gives you the view of the front left wheel and the front right wheel. And then you also have this top view from the rear, so you can actually see if there is an obstruction. Similarly for the front, and you also have this 3D view. And I really think that the resolution could have been a little bit better. We just drove the Tata Curve a few days back, and the camera and the fluidity of the whole system is a lot better there. So it's functional, but it probably could have been a little bit better. Let's also quickly have a look at the 360-degree camera here, basically the transparent bonnet feature. And once you bring on the camera, you have to press this icon, and then it essentially turns the vehicle into a transparent vehicle, and you can see what's happening underneath. It's not very clear, and while it does work, it's somewhat laggy. And if you compare it with more evolved systems like the one we saw on BYDs and the Mercedeses and the Land Rovers of the world, this is not very useful, I would say. But the feature is there anyway, and if you are out in the wild without a spotter, this would come handy by some margin, if not entirely. Now, while talking about safety, it's important to mention that this comes with a full suite of level 2 ADAS functions, which is obviously facilitated by radar as well as camera sensors, and all the controls for the advanced ADAS features sit here. So you get adaptive cruise control, you get lane keep assist and all the fancy features which are associated with ADAS, and you also get blind spot monitoring system aided by the camera on both the ends, although on the mirror you don't have the beeping or the flashing blind spot alarm that you get on some other cars. Another great thing about this car, which I was not expecting, is its maneuverability, and even in tight spaces you can turn it around very easily. U-turns are damn easy, and the 4x4 version also comes with something called Intelli-Turn Assist, which basically brakes the inner wheels to make the turn tighter.
And the last feature, which is relaxing and important and new, is the ability to crawl when you're going off-road. Set it in crawl mode at a low speed and focus on the line and the steering input rather than dancing with the pedals, right? So these are all welcome features to see in a car in this price bracket.
And about the off-road capability itself?
So there's a couple of enhancements that are available now. Before, the Thar used to have something called an MLD.
Right.
So now in the new Thar Roxx, we have the electronic locking differential.
Right.
So with the push of a button, you can lock your rear differential, and that is usually enough to get you out of most situations. Right. A lot of us try to find ways to put it in aftermarket. Right. For the Jimny, right now we haven't found a solution yet. And to have an electronic version rather than either cable operated or lever operated or pneumatic with the ARB systems, so to have an electronic locker is awesome. I think
more convenient.
Yeah, and
saves you the
more
effort.
reliable also, I would say. No running pipelines for compressed air and a cylinder and a compressor. It's just less faff overall. So I'm sitting in the back seat now, right behind the driver. I have plenty of knee room. I'm not cramped for space at all. And the more interesting point is that I have plenty of headroom as well. This car, if you look at the roofline from outside, from the exterior view, you'll see that the roof was designed with the sunroof in mind. And there's so much space, despite the sunroof, being as big as it is and all this glass having to move around. There's so much headroom for me over here. The middle seat over here this is just a little dummy headrest over here. It's not a complete headrest, whereas the left and right have adjustable headrests. And there is a nice armrest as well. Now there is an armrest with two cup holders. Very convenient.
We are on a surface which is not properly paved. We have some undulations here, so can you feel them?
Yeah, I don't feel too much of it. I think it's way more comfortable, first of all, to get into compared to the 3-door Thar, and when you just went slightly off-road there, I didn't feel any of it. So a remarkable job done with the suspension. So to summarize, I think the back seat is a fabulous place to be in this new Thar Roxx, I think. So this almost feels like a double armrest for me. So you have this soft touch material which is right at the window sill, and below that you have the actual armrest itself. This is a nice place for me to place my hand. It feels comfortable, it feels soft on my elbow. That's really nice. So the whole cabin is quiet. You don't hear the outside traffic as much. It's all really well controlled. What do you think, Amit?
I think quite a few cars passed as you were talking, and I cannot even hear a whisper of them. There's absolutely no sound coming inside, and for a car which is apparently built over the Thar, is a cousin of the Thar, I think this does not even pass off as a Thar. This is a much more luxurious vehicle, and the insulation is absolutely out of this world. It's amazing.
I have a feeling a lot of people who own the 3-door Thar are going to have a test drive in this and change their car immediately, just because how complete. This is what a Thar should feel like. Now, we haven't driven it off-road, so I don't know how well it will perform when you take it off the road and into the trails. The longer wheelbase will obviously have its limitations and stuff, but as a road car, and for somebody who's occasionally going to go off-road on the trail, it's brilliant. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we have Amit behind the wheel. I was driving it for a fair while, and Amit is behind the wheel. He's just gotten to grips with the car, and we would like to have a quick conversation about how the engine and transmission feel. What are your thoughts, Amit?
I've said for the longest of the times that Mahindra at this point in time is making some of the best engines out there, not just in India but anywhere. And the 2.2 M-Hawk and the 2-liter M-Stallion engines are fantastic. They're smooth. There's tons and tons of torque below 2000 RPM, at which RPM I'm driving right now. It's 1000 RPM right now. There's no dearth of torque whatsoever. Just a little dab of the right pedal and the car moves forward, and as you would attest to, there is absolutely no sound of the engine coming in. It's buttery smooth, and that 6-speed ICE transmission is fantastic. So this engine transmission combo is doing duty on the 3-door Thar as well. It's doing duty on Scorpio N, on the XUV 700, and on all of those applications it works like a charm, and it's no different, maybe a little bit better.
I think the lightening of the chassis, and I'm fairly sure this car would be a little bit lighter than the Scorpio N.
Yes,
and
it is.
The lighter weight, the lesser weight contributes heavily to the experience overall.
And they're always incrementally improving the engine and transmission, making small changes. So I think that also comes into play. And there's a marked difference in the cabin quietness over the 3-door Thar. Not just visually, because it looks all the more plush. So if you're traveling with your family also in this car, I think really no problem. It's one of the plushest suspensions out there. The ride quality is absolutely amazing.
I think the increase in wheelbase has definitely made this car now the primary contender for anybody who wants a Thar. The comfort of this car, the ride quality, the way it handles the small bumps, the longer bumps. The 3-door Thar is very bouncy and very uncontrolled in comparison. I think the technology that Mahindra are using has come a long way.
So Guru, would you want to comment on the changes that have been made to the suspension system over the Thar? The 3-door version.
I think it's a completely different design entirely.
Right.
The 3-door Thar had that weird fork kind of setup in the front, which really didn't work. Yes, both of them have coilovers, but now with the new design, the coilover is much longer. So you have a longer spring and you have more damper travel. You can feel it up front. Even at the back, they made a point in the presentation about how they've spaced out the coils from the dampers. So even though the coils are a little bit inboard, the dampers are moved quite a bit outboard. So the ride quality really comes through. And they have a Pentalink suspension at the rear. You don't have that left to right shimmy that you have in the Jimny and you have in the 3-door Thar. That's completely gone. This doesn't feel like SUV or an off-roader at all. It feels like a road-going SUV. I think it rides even better than the Rubicon.
Yeah, it does, because I drove the Rubicon some while ago and it feels very stiff. It doesn't feel like a car which is comfortable for sure. I mean, it's acceptable, but it's not comfortable, unlike this car which is plush. And it gets better as you catch speed. As you press on the pedal, it keeps getting better and better.
So Amit, you've been driving the car for a while, I think enthusiastically, through some narrow roads heading up a hill into a forest area. So it's a nice guard section kind of feel. And you also drove it a little bit on the highway. So from an enthusiast driver's perspective, what do you think of the handling of this car compared to, say, something like a Taygun or a Creta or something like that?
So while we compare it with the Creta or with the likes of, say, the Taygun, we should understand that those cars are not proper SUVs or off-roaders, and they are meant essentially for the road. And so therefore you are not sat as high up in those cars as you are here. And that, of course, disconnects you a little bit from the road. So especially I'll talk about the Taygun, where you feel a lot more connected with the road. The moment the car is sat in motion, you feel like there is a connect with the road via the steering. And on this car also, there is a very relatable feeling vis-a-vis the Scorpio N. There's a very familiar kind of a feeling that you get. And while it's not as disconnected as the 3XO, where the steering simply doesn't connect with the road and you, it's completely lifeless. Here, that feeling is slightly more subdued, and the more you gather speed, the more it starts talking to you. But at low speeds, I think it's rather dull and you don't get a sense of what's happening. It's artificially weighted. But the good thing is that it's very, very predictable. You can place the car very reassuringly on the road, and that engine and transmission it's like, the response is really quick. 0 to 60 in 5 seconds flat on this diesel. So if you want to drive it enthusiastically, you really can, but that feelsome feeling that you get with something specifically like the Taygun is somewhat missing. But for the kind of application that this is, a proper 4x4, I really think it can be an enthusiast's car. The standout feature for me is the comfort blended with the kind of handling that this offers. And as you're sitting in the car right now for such a long time, even when I'm going around corners enthusiastically, the car is riding flat, won't you think?
I think by now, in the back of any other car, I would have probably asked you to pull over and had a heave. But the body roll is remarkably well controlled. It's amazing. In fact, the Fortuner, for example, that rolls like a boat. And don't get me started on the Pajero SFX. And these are like really roly-poly cars. It's amazing. It's remarkable what they've achieved. A couple of other thoughtful features that have been provided here. So this is your seat back pocket. And they've also included these 2 extra pouches here that seem to be purpose-built for holding a mobile phone or something. So you can just put your phone in there and it's separate from everything else. I also like this reading lamp provided over here. Very convenient. And there's a grab handle provided here as well. And same on the other side. It makes getting in and out of the car really easy. Even for elderly people, that's pretty thoughtful. And overall, the visibility is pretty good. That feeling of claustrophobia that you have in some of the other cars, the 5-seater cars, that's completely not there. You're sitting really high up, and you have a good view down at the road. You have a decent view out the side. There's a lot of glass everywhere, so the visibility out is great, and that should help alleviate feelings of claustrophobia.
I think, as I mentioned, you are sat very high up, so the visibility is fantastic. And another great thing is that the A-pillar is not very thick, despite this being a proper off-roader. And the handle that you have here has also been designed in a manner that it's in line with the A-pillar. So it's not obstructing your view in any way. So there are no blind spots whatsoever. And the mirror, the ORVM, is also amazingly huge. It's really big. So the visibility is fantastic. The overall awareness for the driver about the surroundings is amazing. A couple of things which I just observed is, if you want to be driving really enthusiastically and you want to be in control, typically you'd want to have, especially for a car like this which handles so well, if there were pedal shifters, I would have really liked to have pedal shifters.
Yeah, I was reaching for them and I didn't find them.
And it happens typically with cars, which drive well. So this is a car that drives well around the bends and I am missing them. Although you can always use the manual shifters on the drive selector, but that's not the same, as you would know. And I think the sunroof also is an icing on the cake.
Yeah, let's get that.
Won't you agree? I'm just opening it because it just opens the whole sky for you, and it's one of the largest sunroofs that you'll ever come across.
We are in a nice place to enjoy that.
And this entire operation was just one touch. I just touched the button once and it opened fully.
So we're just doing a quick U-turn test. And it manages that quite easily. So despite the increase in the wheelbase, the turning radius hasn't been affected too badly. So finally we're driving off-road, huh?
It's doing rather well, man. It's not fishtailing until now.
Bola.
Take that
Ramp up
and up.
here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't go too
Nice.
fast. Not too fast.
That is is it grinding down or is it the brakes?
No, it's the what do you call it?
Descent.
Surface down, which is like scraping.
Okay, I thought it was
Under,
descent
the
control.
underbelly.
बस रुको आराम से इसे में आराम से
Did you design it like this, or was this because of the rains that it became so slushy?
Yes, rains, both. So we kept it pretty simple. The rains made it.
More challenging,
Yeah.
which is good.
कुछ काम है ही नहीं इसमें.
कुछ नहीं है काम.
Car is doing everything on its own here. Is there underbody protection?
No, not standard, but basics are protected. Meaning whatever will hit, it will not hit the fuel tank and all those things. And
Okay.
Basic protection.
So, another question is, in the Thar 3-door, there's a well-documented issue of the front radiator lower mount. Has that been addressed in this model?
This has been corrected.
Okay, so could you brief a little bit about that?
So the radiator has been taken up.
It's been raised up.
Yeah,
huh?
has been raised up.
By how much?
Exact figures I don't know.
So that's no longer a concern.
No,
Okay,
it's not going to hit unless you're going to hit a ball.
but there's no risk of something from underneath.
No, even
Okay.
I'll show you where it is. It is well above the chest.
Perfect. That is one huge concern, and I'm glad we were able to address that. I'm going to deploy the luxurious windshield washer. This is like a rain shower at home, dude.
You're going to fall out of the door, man.
Oh, this is impressive, man.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I think this is still okay. The course that they made for the Scorpio N was even more challenging.
Yes.
But then again, this one has a longer wheelbase.
So the key takeaway for me in all this is just how easy it is to take a car like this and go off-road. You don't need... Okay, it's always better to equip yourself with a little bit of knowledge and experience. So if you do end up buying the Thar Roxx, attend some of the academies, join some of the clubs, go and experience how it is off-road. So when you do eventually end up on a real trail, and there are very few real trails left anymore, even most of Ladakh is completely tarmac now. But if you do end up on a real trail, you'll have the confidence and the knowledge that you can pull through. Especially if you're traveling with family. Knowing what your car can and cannot do is extremely helpful. It'll save you from being stuck in some place versus being able to get out, get back to civilization, a warm meal.
It's quite challenging, huh?
Nothing. Absolutely.
Yeah, but these guys, I mean, to make the car go through this shows the amount of confidence that these people have.
Getting out of these ruts is impossible.
Yeah. Once they stick around the tires.
Guru, please don't be the first guy to get it stuck in this.
It takes some skill to get stuck here.
I'm capable, man. I'm very, very skilled. You should see what all I get up to with the Jimny now. This makes.
You think the Jimny will make its way out of it?
This, yeah, no problem.
Easily?
Yeah, no problem.
Not as far.
You don't need any fancy modes. But that's not the point. The rest of the experience of owning a car, a 4x4, is so much nicer than this. So this is a demonstration of the ITA Intelli-Turn Assist. It only works below 14 kilometers per hour.
15. 15 kilometers per hour and below.
And below. This is designed to get you out of tight spots. So what you need to do is...
Turn now. Yeah, go. Yeah.
Go, yeah.
Yeah, go. Yes.
Fully lock the steering and
Yes.
it comes into play once you lock the steering fully, not before that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just forgot to narrate because...
Having so much fun.
Yeah.
It's like a drift at below 15 kilometers per hour, which is otherwise impossible. So, as you can see,
Go. Yes.
This is like fiddle brakes in your
Yes.
competitive four-wheel drive vehicles, where somebody is actually sitting and doing this for you. They have levers on the dashboard that they keep pushing to lock the inner wheels, and that is way more strenuous. And here, the car is doing it for you. It's bloody amazing. So this is very useful on a trail where you want to get out of a tight situation. You're either stuck between some trees, you need to get the car turned around. something like this would be invaluable. Of course, the surface has to allow for this kind of slip. Ideally, a low traction surface is required. Will I make it?
No. It's quite amazing how sharp it goes.
Yeah.
Looks almost impossible
like
before it does it.
Exactly. Just doing this one last time.
And the funny thing is that, under these circumstances, generally the car will go wide.
Yeah. Yeah.
So instinct tells you to go slow, and it actually goes really tight.
Yeah, you have to accelerate it. Counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Accelerate when you.
So when I slow down, it's drifting wide.
Yes. You have to accelerate it, but keep it under 15 kph. See? Yeah. Yeah. You got it.
Okay, cool. That was awesome, man. Thank you so much, Vinod.
Most welcome, Nanba.
Guru, just show the button also, which you need to
I
press to
was
engage
going
it.
through some of our old videos, man, which I shot some maybe more than 15 years ago, yeah.
So this is the button that turns on and off the ITA feature. So when you press it on the dashboard, you will see the ITA, the green symbol come on. So, Amit, we spent the whole day with the Thar Roxx. I want to understand what are your thoughts on the value proposition that this offers to the buyers.
Well, first and foremost, this is so totally different from the 3-door Thar. This is so much better. The suspension is so much better. It's more of a family car. It's not a hardcore off-roader like the Thar is. So if you want the hardcore off-roader, you'd probably still be looking at the 3-door version because it has better breakover angle and whatnot. But it's not a comparable car in terms of the interior quality, the suspension, the usability by the family, the space inside. So it's a proper family car if you want to use it like that. And in terms of where it stands, I think it slots right between the 3-door Thar and the Scorpio N. So for someone who's looking for a proper 5-seater car for the family with a decent engine, and the Scorpio N for some reasons were not floating their boat, this one is the car to go for. And in terms of pricing, purely in terms of pricing, if you go to see, the Scorpio will set you back by about 14.5 lakh rupees all the way to 25 ex-showroom. This one starts at 13 and will go for the 4x4 version to about, I think, 23 lakh rupees. So the equation is that you'll save about 1.5 lakh rupees.
Going for the Thar.
Yeah, that's what you save. But what do you lose?
What do you lose? You lose the option to have 7 seats,
yeah,
and the option to put a flag up here in front. This is definitely not a car for the politically inclined. For me, this car makes the 3-door redundant. I know what you're saying, that there is still a market for it, but the sheer quality and the enhancement to the experience of anybody who's inside this car. A Scorpio N kind of is a very good car, but the rear end is a bit weird.
It's the image that's the problem.
Yeah, and it looks a bit strange. For me, the back looks like the Xylo, and the front is not interesting, whereas this is a very interesting looking car.
Yeah.
It's
got more character.
It's in a different league, right? And it's not huge. The Scorpio N looks massive.
Right. So presence, right? The image, it works for some, it doesn't work for some.
Yeah. Despite having all the space advantages and stuff, it still comes across as the right size of an SUV.
So for the people who are looking for a 5-seater, I think it's
a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. So that's that. If you're looking for a proper 5-seater, you now have some real SUV options apart from the Koreans in the market, and I really think that it's going to place a huge challenge to the reigning options like
Creta.
The Creta and
Seltos.
the Seltos and all of those cars, because this is fantastic value. And if you're in the market for a 5-seater, I think you should definitely be going out and taking a test drive of this car without any apprehensions in your mind. That's very important, because this is nothing like the Thar that you know.
Yeah, and that's very important, to not go in with any foregone conclusions that it's a Jeep. this drives nothing like a Jeep, right? It's
Beautiful
pretty
car.
amazing. Yeah.
Had a fantastic day, and we really think that Mahindra is making fantastic progress. It's an engineering marvel in my books, and for someone who wants a family car, they should definitely go out and take a test drive. It's going to completely astonish you.
There you have it, folks. Test drives start September 14th, and you can get in one of these Mahindra Thar Roxxes and try it for yourself. You don't need to buy a Thar just for the four-wheel drive. As a two-wheel drive, it's phenomenal. Bookings will start October 3rd and delivery somewhere around this era. Thank you for watching Motoroids again, and we hope you like this new format. And if you did, please like and share and leave a comment below so that we can engage with you and have a conversation.
Until next time then, rev hard, rev free,
And drive safe.